Well, hello there, welcome back. I did something really stupid, and you can probably guess what it is. That's right, I flew 2,500 miles across the country and bought this car sight unseen. It's a 1981 Mercury Zephyr Wagon with a 200 straight six, a single barrel carburetor, and a C4 3-speed auto transmission with no overdrive. Over the course of the next few days, I'm gonna drive this thing home. Well, at least try to. We'll see about that. So my first stop this evening is Yakima, Washington, which from here is 3.5 hours. And I'm terrified. I am absolutely terrified of this car. Just because I don't know anything about it. And I have so far to go. There's part of me that really cannot believe that this is what the next, 40 hours of my life looks like, is behind the wheel of this car, shooting across the country. Speaking of shooting across things, a mouse shot across my foot when I went to start this thing for the very first time off camera. So have friends. Thankfully, the mouse isn't the only friend I have in Washington. I was on the way to Yakima to spend the weekend with Derek, who you might remember from the last cross-country trip. The plan was to treat the next 3.5 hours as a shakedown, and supposing I actually made it to Yakima, reward the car with the least amount of maintenance possible in preparation for the rest of my drive. Don't have great oil pressure at lower RPM. Like at idle, we're talking 15 pounds probably, but once you get moving, it does come back quick, fast, and in a hurry, so I guess that's okay. Gonna throw some gas in the old rig because the seller told me that he has not put gas in it in almost 2 years. So, 487, damn. This is the first fill up of many. 30 bones, 6.3 gallons. All right, let's hit the road. So I'm curious about a hot start on this thing. This is a first. Here we go. Oh, that was great. Excellent. All right, to Derek's. About the car, it's been pretty good. The oil pressure is holding at, you can't see it. Oil pressure is holding at 40 psi. The brakes are just not there, so that's been a little scary. But let's get this thing to Derek's house. I'm starving. I'm ready to lay down on this thing. So I'll see you there. Look how horrible this thing looks. It looks so much worse than I thought.
A little bit clean up, it won't be bad.
Yeah, good bath will go a long way.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Those rust spots will clear up.
Yeah. Well, and it's all the mold makes it look so much worse. Yeah. Once the mold's gone, it'll look a lot better.
I mean, the interior ain't horrible.
It's not bad. The floors are wet, so they're a little swampy, but I haven't really checked anything. I mean, I have an oil pressure gauge that's not real high, but
well, you saw that post with the Z, just oh yeah, I never really checked oil. Just a little dot on it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's not half as bad as I was expecting.
No.
So yeah, I think the worst part of it are the brakes. They are scary.
Oh, jeez.
Like, I was driving through town here, like, pumping it just to stop.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, do we have fluid and stuff?
Yeah, it's got fluid. So I hope it still has fluid. I guess that's the real question. But, yeah. Apart from that, there's no temp gauge, so
Oh, yeah.
anybody's guess. He styled me with a jug of coolant. He's like, you might want this. That's a good sign.
Well, we can get it up on blocks tomorrow, go through the brakes, check them,
Yeah.
see
Yeah,
what's what.
the stuff I want to do, like, I really need to do is, like, spare tire. Like, basic shit.
Yeah.
Oil change, heavier oil. Spare tire. The cigarette lighter doesn't work. I need that for the cameras. Apart from that, I'd like to put in a temp gauge, maybe a thermostat.
We'll go Harbor Freight, get you one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I have no idea. That's empty. There's nothing in that hose. It didn't seem that low. And, oh, boy. Well, we'll worry about that tomorrow. I'm just happy to be here. Yeah, I'm just...
Get a good night's sleep and think about it.
Yeah, and there's not, like, oil running everywhere.
No.
It's probably empty.
All the way up.
That's what you want. Oh, I had a mouse run across my feet.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I got friends.
A little low.
You know what? That's okay.
Survivable.
That's livable. This makes some pretty bad racket.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I think we'll just cut that belt.
Okay, that's just one.
Yeah, look how small that belt is.
And what is that? Is that
That's the smog pump.
Oh,
Yeah, don't need that.
the anti-fun?
Right. I'm ready for a break. I've been up since 4 my time.
Boy. Oh no. Well, we can go get something to eat. We'll bring this to the car wash. Try to make it look presentable.
Yeah.
At least make it a little bit nicer to work on.
That sounds good. Well, show me the place, dude. I obviously haven't seen it.
Yeah. This is my little abode.
Yeah.
Good enough for me. I mean, anywhere you can find a house in the city where you can park 6 cars and it doesn't look absolutely horrible. You're doing
I
pretty
think that's
decent.
doing all right.
But-
We can't park 6 cars at Fate's house. We can barely park 2.
oh wow.
Yeah. It's a
No.
godsend to have the garage. Otherwise, we'd be in trouble.
When I saw this and pulled up and saw this going all the way to, it goes all the way to the Rabbit.
Yeah.
I was
That's
like,
what's up.
oh yes. And
Yeah.
it has a 2-car garage in the back and
Yeah.
alleyway in the back.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's
Sweet.
perfect. Man, it's got a full basement. in it.
Really?
Yeah, this had 4 different layers of roofing on it, including the cedar. So,
Nice.
so they had to
Nice.
put a brand new roof on it, even to sell it. So, got a brand new
Yeah.
roof.
Hey, that's great.
Yeah, there's Bebop again.
Bebop.
Head gasket's blown.
Really?
I think from when I sent that engine nuclear,
Ah.
it got a crack in it, and it might be a cracked head.
Oh,
But I think I
man.
cracked the head, and it just got worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
So
Man, that's
finally,
a shame.
finally confirmed it yesterday, and I just kind of left it.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to drive this the last time I was here getting the yellow truck, and it was fantastic. Made me think twice about the VR6 swap and everything. I mean, it drove so much better. It was so much faster, let's be honest.
My thing is the 4-cylinder keeps the Rabbit cart feel.
Yeah.
It still feels
Yeah, it
like
keeps the weight right.
Yeah.
And the
Because-
TDI does too, but that's so much faster.
Yeah.
There's so much more
is-
fun. Oh, there's another alley out back, so you could go all the way through.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, like we'll pull you in through here. And,
Oh man. Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
It's got a real ass on it. 2-car garage that half is gravel,
Mm-hmm.
well,
Oh, half is paved.
asphalt, and then the back section is concrete.
Oh, nice.
I
You just got the best of everything. Nice. Eh, whatever. That's cool, man.
little wood stove that keeps up. It makes it comfortable.
Yeah.
Just almost comfortable.
Yeah.
Where you're not numb fingering. This still has the beautiful nut and tube wiring up.
Oh, yeah.
that they splice off, come down into here. You know, exposed wire here, wrapped fabric wire.
Derek, it's fine. I don't know
more
what you're worried
exposed. I got a street light, 2 bulbs, and then some lights I stole or grabbed from work, all spliced off of there.
Wow, so they're all run off of that little knob and tube. Nice.
Yeah, we're living on the edge, baby.
I like it.
So you're LS swapping this, right?
Yeah, I actually have a 5.3.
Oh,
that would be killer in this thing.
Dude.
That would be this thing would be so sick.
Keep the gigantic steering wheel on there.
The like 1 finger power steering. Yes, it makes a lot of noise, but I don't think many of the noises are that concerning. It's just like clunking and banging or like whatever.
That one or sounds like a exhaust rub or something.
Right. So we're headed to get an oil change at the very least.
Yeah.
And probably some more coolant and stuff. Just to kind of help speed up tomorrow's revival time. Oh, in the out, perfect. Yeah, that seems about right.
See,
Oil, filter, brake fluid, wipers. What else did I need? Headlights.
do you want headlights, or do we want to try to see if we're actually getting power to the ties?
We'll cross that bridge tomorrow.
Okay. Let's check
I have
two
a
more
feeling
places.
they're both shot, but it does seem kind of weird that they both be bad, but...
Especially high beams.
Right. The light comes on the dash and everything, which I don't know if you saw that, but it's like it's trying to work.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it'll be easy to figure out. So after our shopping extravaganza, we hit the car wash because the amount of mold on this thing was really bringing me down to the point where I wasn't feeling the best about my new purchase. This thing must have sat for at least a year and a half. It was under a tree too. They had like 6 or 7 inches of snow like last week. All right, let's clean this thing up. It's disgusting.
I had to try it.
Oh, dude. It looks great when you can't really see all the details.
It's like I say with my Z, it looks really great in the rain.
Yeah. See you tomorrow. Good morning. Day 2. This is where we do the smallest amount of work possible to make sure it gets me back to home.
You're doing the work, I'm cleaning.
So we're gonna shoot around town here this morning and try to figure out, you know, who's got the parts we need and
The ashtray on the
whatever.
back of the seat?
The back of the seat? Oh no, it does! Oh, that's great. I love that somebody actually used it. That's even better. Kind of curious how this thing will cold start after sitting all night and driving for 4 hours yesterday, because when it was warm, fire right up, no problem. Like, you breathe on the key and it's running. Now that it's cold though, I don't know. A couple pumps maybe. Not too bad. It's a lot better than yesterday. That'll get me home, baby.
Yeah, it went right to idle. Hell yeah, baby.
Perfect. That exhaust leak's pretty nasty sounding when it's cold, but that really wasn't too bad.
No.
When I got the Ranger, the cigarette lighter didn't work, and neither did the horn. It was on the same circuit though. And
But your horn worked.
well, that's, I know, I don't know. But I figured out what it was. The cigarette lighter like shorted and it blew the fuse. So I'm hoping that's that easy in this car, but we'll see. So last night we hit up Walmart and a couple other stores, and it was dark, you know, when we left Walmart. And driving back, these are the worst headlights I've ever seen in a car ever. Like, they work, but they're so dim. I mean, it's like, people joke that it's like having candles on the front of your car, but it really is like having candles on the front of your car. They're that dim. So I guess we'll try to just replace everything. We had a marker light out too, so my Napa list is growing. And although my Napa list was growing, it was still incredibly short, all things considered. We're talking belts and bulbs just to keep the thing legal enough, and maybe a spare ignition box in case my Duraspark 2 shit the bed somewhere in the middle of nowhere, Utah. I love that rabbit. It's so pretty. I'd love to have a Ranger the same color. Are we gonna drive past that Ranger?
Yeah.
Alright. That'll make sense for the video. Oh, yes. Lago Blue Ranger. So far we've been to what? O'Reilly, AutoZone, Harbor Freight, got a whole slew of stuff. In classic Ford fashion, they used two different sizes of brake drum, so we couldn't get wheel cylinders because apparently they're different, which is kind of surprising to me.
3 different belt sizes.
Right, three different belt sizes. Class. I mean, there's like a factory installed AC, a dealer installed AC option, like non-AC.
So do you have the powerful alternator or not?
Right, yeah, 70 or 100 amp, you know. Yeah, we gotta go tear apart the car and figure out exactly what parts it has before we can go buy the new stuff. So, but first, breakfast. Back at the Zeph. All right, so tools. Get this thing up in the air. We got to figure out.
Garages where you just need to ask me if I have a thing, and I'll go to some random off corner, pull it out of like a fucking magic. Man.
Like, yeah, I've got one of those.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, in this box,
right here.
down here beneath this box. Sure.
I'll tell friends.
Oh, my gill. I can't lose my gill. It's popping out of there. Oh, yeah. That thing is absolutely filthy.
I feel like I got 30 years of asbestos just from that.
Yeah.
Dude!
Nice. Classy. Dude, I'm ready to go. What? Sheila agrees. Yes, yes, yes. Ooh, American flag. Very American Day.
America!
Fuck yeah! This is one of those parts that if the one on the car takes a dump, I am screwed unless I have another one. So that $50 is well worth it. So there it is on the car. It's already been replaced with a Napa heavy duty made in USA rig. But I got this no name, likely Chinese part to replace it in case it goes down. So fingers crossed that doesn't happen. We spent the next couple hours examining everything from bearings to bushings to brakes and the in-between. And to be honest, there were very few surprises, which was nice. Now, the only thing in here that doesn't really work, and the thing that I arguably need the most, is the cigarette lighter, just to keep stuff charged up and working. And it just straight up doesn't work. So I gotta figure out Hopefully it's just a fuse that's blown, maybe by a crappy old cigarette lighter that is feeling its age, we'll say. And then, you know, if I get lucky, that's all that's wrong. Oh yeah, so there's half of my diagram. Awesome. Yes, Derek.
Good half?
I don't think so.
Damn it.
See, literally, horn, cigarette lighter. Horn works, so that's not a good sign.
So we found a cigarette lighter.
Yes, it is on the same fuse, just like the Ranger. Ugh. Yes, not blown. Ah. The furthest most point in this cigarette lighter is the positive. You're right, it's rusty as fuck. I was like scraping at it and it was coming back. Yeah.
Here, just stick the steel wool in there, that'll clean it up.
Giving her the beans. I don't generally advocate for sticking steel wool into a live cigarette lighter, but in this case, if you pull the fuse, it's a great solution, and it worked. 12, 6, 7. We think we may have figured out the brake situation. The pads are just absolutely gone. They're just gone. There's nothing left.
NASCAR. We'll give him my number, Hendrick Motorsports. Your indicator is just about to start screaming, so.
Yeah. Whoa, greasable tie rod ends. I like that.
Dude.
Serviceable. Yeah, those
Better?
are also just slightly better. Just about shot also.
Yeah, throw some pads.
Not enough of one to matter. I can't get rotors for it, so
No.
I already looked.
That's not even. It's not even a ridge. You're fine.
Yeah.
Bushings are soft, but not gone. So I think you're good.
I mean,
your steering is turning, so that's
yeah,
all.
right.
It's all solid.
All right, so we're headed back to the parts store. Parts store and new spare tire, because the one that was on it was a Indian Res spare tire. The one on the car, or the one with the car, was a 2000 date code. It's pretty old. And then belts. These are
Brake pads.
pretty bad. Yes, brake pads too. We're pretty sure that's why the brakes are so soft, because there's no pad left. And the calipers are run like all the way out, making up for the lost, pad meat. That's a weird sentence. Anyways. It seemed like every time we headed back into town, I noticed more and more and more classic cars and trucks that were damn near perfect. I'm talking no rust, maybe a little body damage here and there, but these cars do not exist in Ohio. You drive around the neighborhood and they're literally everywhere. Got our belts. No brake pads though, so I was kind of expecting them to have
Pads, but yeah.
right. Rotors, okay, but pads I thought they'd have, so.
Well, that's only at O'Reilly's.
Right, I know. We have options, thank God. So we went over to Napa next, assuming that they might have some scarce parts just laying around on a shelf. And after telling them what the front brake pads were for, they pretty much laughed us out of the place. They said there was like 5 sets across the country. So the odds of us finding a set are very good. It felt like we had no choice but to accept failure on the brake pad mission, so we kept moving and focused on the spare tire.
This ain't a slow-mo.
15 minutes later, we found ourselves at a shipping container dealing in used tires on an Indian reservation. And yes, it sounds like I'm making all of this up, but I promise I'm not. So they dismounted the old tire, mounted the new tire, new used tire, and balanced it all for $40, which was absolutely crazy, but I'm really happy that we found the place and it worked out beautifully. Now, through all of this, I kept thinking about those brake pads and thinking, well, there's gotta be a set somewhat close. So I kept searching all the different auto parts store locations and eventually turned a set up.
We're stopping on Legends on the way back.
Yeah?
And we're throwing it all on black, because god damn it, our luck is on a roll right now.
But the problem was, it was an AutoZone 2 hours away in one direction. She's like, yeah, we've got a set. I'm like, what? I'm trying to hold it back, but I'm like,
that in a bow.
I'm like, please
Put it on the top
put it
shelf.
somewhere. 5, 6, 8, 9, 12 hours later, we're back with all the stuff. A good spare tire, 4 new headlights, funnels, and brake pads that caused us to drive like 3 hours out of the way because, well, they only fit Zephyrs and Fairmonts for some reason. Thought, you know, Fox body platform stuff would be all the same, but of course, in typical Ford fashion, it's not. So I guess now we're gonna finish putting this thing together and hopefully have it mostly buttoned up by this evening, and then I'm going to bed. Last night we ended at trying to slip the new brake pads in, and even after our multiple hour journey to go find these crazy rare pads, they still don't quite fit. They're like a hair wider than the original pads. Hold on, that's coming up.
That's how much I need to take off.
Wow. Is that for either side or is that in total?
Just in total.
Wow.
Sadler.
Hey.
Sadler. Huzzah! Sheila.
Sheila approves. Of course, last night I was filling her up with coolant, pulled the cap out and left half of the cap in the radiator, so be getting one of those before I leave. I was doing some reading this morning about the Zeph, and it has the Thrift Power 6. That 70s gas crisis, man, it really, Jesus. 9:45. Trying to make our final run to the parts store. Just need some odds and ends at this point. Old Type F. And that should be the last of it. Filter, gauge. It has a dummy light that I don't trust. It probably hasn't worked in 20 years. Probably would have been on by the time I got to your house.
One last Harbor Freight trip just to get a tire iron just in case.
Yep, that's the one thing I don't have. I got a good spare, a jack, and no way to get the lugs off, so. Temp gauge, because who the hell knows where that thing runs. New rad cap, exhaust clamp, breaker bar, 13/16 for the lugs, and a classic inline fuel filter. I think that is the last of what we need. So throw that on, get this thing back on the ground, and finally go for a ride and see where we are with the brakes and everything. So after an hour's worth of putting the wheels back on and filling it with coolant, the car was pretty much done. We got the new temp gauge in and everything seemed to be functioning like it should. So it was time for a test drive and a reflection on everything we had done the day prior and that morning. Because it was almost time for me to leave, which was crazy. Well, Derek, what do you think?
I think it's as good as it's gonna get, and the getting is good.
The getting is good. This thing's it's running great. Still have a mild exhaust leak, but once it's extra warm from driving, it does go away. And you can't hear it inside anyway, so it's probably fine. Headlights are all replaced. All the other bulbs are new. inline fuel filter. Yeah, whatever, all the things that matter are new. Brake pads up front, of course. The pedal does feel better just at idle, but it was so bad before.
It'd go straight to the floor now.
Yeah. Temp gauge, which is nice.
Professionally installed.
Right. The world's nastiest sounding buzzer. Otherwise, yeah. I think we're in for a hell of a ride. I think it's time for a test drive. Here. If you want, you can have this or throw it away.
You can have this just for the pleasure of throwing it the f away.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
Headlights, just because they work. And yeah, let's do this thing.
Right up at that telephone pole is going to be the turn right out of the alleyway.
All right. Oh, dude, that's perfect. It took all of 900 feet for me to call the car perfect, and I'm not sure if that makes me an optimist or just an idiot, but either way, the rest of our test drive around Yakima went flawlessly. The car was great, smooth, quiet, stopped, and I don't know what else I could have asked for. Well, we did it.
Somehow.
A day and a half, roughly. I have no idea where I'm going tonight. No idea. It's like 2:30 here-ish. I'll probably leave, it'll be 3. And
go until you stop.
Gotta get gas on the way out of town, and I'll just drive until I'm out of gas, I guess, and we'll just see what happens next.
If you do that, you ain't gonna make it far.
No, yeah, about 200 miles. Yeah. Dude, thank you so much. It's been fantastic. I just appreciate it. It's so much. I mean,
fun,
God,
man. It's a hell of a way to spend a weekend.
Yeah, I couldn't do it without you. All right, man, I'm out of here.
See ya.
Thanks again. You'll be hearing from me.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and just like that, I'm headed back to Ohio. Wow. First stop is a gas station. I have well under a quarter tank. 13 miles. Hope we make it. The next few minutes were just rambling. I was just rambling about the trip and just kind of being floored at the idea that the next, what would be 40 hours of my life would be spent behind the wheel of this Zephyr that I really didn't know anything about. You know, we had worked on it all weekend, yada, 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 but I really didn't know the car. I didn't know what to expect. Anything could have gone sideways, and I was thinking about every possibility. Oh. So ahead of me is 2,500 miles, and we're gonna do it in this. I coasted into the gas station on what felt like fumes, which was bad because I had only been 200 miles on that tank. Well, 13.3 gallons to go 200 miles. Oh no, that's not good. Not good at all. It's getting 15. That sucks. Damn, yikes. I was hoping to get like 17 or maybe 18, but no, 15. So, all right, let's keep going. The scenery headed southeast out of Yakima was amazing, and before I knew it, I was in Oregon. I just scaled the side of a mountain, and all of a sudden the scenery has completely changed from arid desert. Now it's raining, there's snow on the ground, and I'm surrounded by pine trees. This is the most gorgeous drive that I have ever done in my life. Look at this. Look at this. Beautiful, gorgeous landscape, despite the rain and the remaining snow. It's unbelievable out here. It's just, we don't get this kind of terrain in Ohio at all. It just doesn't exist there. So to see it, and well, I guess to see it change so much in the course of like, it was really like 50 miles from desert to this, is crazy. I'm just not used to it. Wow, is it amazing. So anyways, the car is doing great. The vitals are holding up just fine. Good oil pressure, good temp. The worst part about this car so far is the fuel mileage. The 15 back there at the last stop is tough. That is really, really bad. I can only go like 220 miles on a tank, and I've already been like 170, and you can see we're getting down there. So I've been running this thing like 70, 75 this whole way, of course, with the exception of the mountain pass, which brought me down to about 45. But yeah, I mean, it's just, it's unbelievable. It's just, the beauty of the Pacific Northwest is absolutely unmatched. I don't care. It's unbelievable out here. Just, wow. And this is the part of the drive that I really wanted to do most. So I'm gonna take it the slowest, and by the time I hit the Midwest, it's gonna hammer home, because I know what that looks like. But this is the part of the trip that I really just wanted to drink up, and it just does not disappoint. The further east I drove, the scenery just got better and better and better. Holy shit. I don't know where I am. It's absolutely gorgeous here. So I took this exit to get some gas, because the old Wagon's, it's empty already. Wow, everything is gorgeous. There's mountains all around. Regular's $4. Oh God. Well, I have to get it, so here I am. Place your bets now. I don't know what kind of mileage we're looking at. Probably 15 again, but here we go. 405. Ouch. I'm guessing 12.5 gallons. Oh, oof, that hurts. Damn. 12.58. Good guess. So yeah, 12.5 gallons to go. 180 miles. It's pretty stiff. It's pretty bad. After a painful 14.5 miles per gallon, I continued southeast on 84. My goal for the night was Twin Falls, but of course, that didn't happen. Well, we've made it to Boise, Idaho. My initial goal was Twin Falls, but we've got some issues with the car that I'm gonna have to sort out in the morning. But until then, I'm absolutely beat. These headlights are horrible. I'll see you tomorrow. Somehow, it is already 7 in the morning, and I figured it out. It's because I'm in mountain time now. So I've already lost an hour that I was used to having in Washington, which is Pacific time. So, yeah. So yes, the issues I was having yesterday, I discovered one of them at the last gas stop, and the valve cover gasket has developed a leak, which is not at all surprising. I'm sure it's the original cork gasket and it's probably disintegrating as we speak. The high beams work for 30 seconds before it shuts off, I believe, as a circuit breaker and kills everything. So if you cycle the headlight switch, they do come back on, but for another 30 seconds. So that's not great. Let's open up the hood and have a look-see at the vitals. See what we're working with here. Actually, on first glance, it's a little wet up here by the very front of the valve cover, sort of by like the thermostat and all that. I think there's still some warmth coming off of that engine. That's crazy. I've been in there for like 7 hours. That's wild. Does it have coolant? Yo, it's full. Fuel filter is like way too clean. That doesn't make sense. Let's check on the Earl. Halfway. I could put some in, but I'm not going to. I gotta get the right key. Oh, almost. Nice. Now that this thing is running, it smells like gas. Oh, okay, that's a problem. Oh, you can't see it from up here, but it's good. It's a hell of a leak. Yeah, that's just dumping gas right onto the manifold. I hope it's this little piece of hose, it looks like it is, between this fuel line and the carburetor. Let me get my $30 Harbor Freight tool set. All right. You know, maybe this fuel leak is somewhat responsible for my horrible mileage, although I doubt it. There it is. Perpetrator. Oh, it's all cracked up. Yeah, it's just junk. So I need exactly that much. Oh. Oh, wow. So, okay, looks like I'm walking. It's just like a pre-filter to the carburetor, but it's leaking right along that seam where it's put together. So this thing is junk. So I guess with how bad it was leaking, I'm gonna walk to the parts store. They open in 3 minutes, thank God, and I'm just gonna see if they have another one. They should, right? Fingers crossed. 4-minute drive or a 45-minute walk. It's just the way she goes. Son of a bitch, gets me there at 8:30. Oh well, I see it. You see it up there? I don't know if you can see that up there. O'Reilly. Oh, that was a 35-minute walk, and I was like busted ass. Now the next hurdle. Do they have it? I didn't check. God, I hope so. If they don't, there is like an AutoZone that's just down the street from here. So I'm finally like in the neighborhood with the stores and the stuff. I was over by the airports where I stayed last night. So yeah. Oh, look at that. Scout. So much good stuff out here. Man. I can't believe it, but they actually had one. And it was $4. So I guess the worst part about all of this was just the lost time. The walk was amazing. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous here. It's a beautiful morning. It just cost me about an hour and a half. So let's get back and put this thing on. All right, there we go. It's running as crappy as it always does, and it's not leaking though. Big win. So thankfully there's a gas station just around the corner, and gas here is $3.65. So we're definitely gonna take advantage of this cheap gas. Finally, I was back on the road after what felt like a huge setback for a $4 part, but to be fair, it would have burnt the car down, so definitely worth the couple hours to fix it. Now, I joked about it fixing the MPG problem as well, and at this point, things were looking pretty good. We are 140 miles in since I fixed the fuel leak and got gas and left the hotel, and this thing is still slightly above half a tank. Before, I could only go like 100 miles flat before it was down to a half tank. So 140, that's a ton more. I don't know if it was leaking that badly and I didn't know, or if my fuel gauge is broken. Stay tuned to find out. As luck would have it, the gauge was broken. So as soon as the camera went down, it shot to empty, forcing me to stop in the middle of nowhere, where there was a gas station conveniently located with reasonably priced fuel. Welcome to the middle of nowhere. Boy, they aren't joking. This really is the absolute middle of nowhere. Also, gas is $4.80 a gallon here. Looks like our oil leak has become a little bit more expansive. But I don't think it's anything that's completely gonna slow us down. Oh yeah, you can see it dripping on the filter down there. Gas, food, pee, back on the road. Just when I thought the mileage couldn't get any worse, it did. It's getting 14. That's really bad. Wow. Oh, fuck. 14 miles a gallon. Although 14 miles to the gallon was hilariously bad, the trip was going exceptionally well otherwise, and the landscape was about to change yet again. We're in Utah! Woo! Also, pretty sure I found the Rockies. Wow. Good Lord. I am 60 miles outside of Salt Lake City. No idea what town I'm in, or if I'm in a town. Not that I care. Wow. Look at that. I made my way around Salt Lake City and through the mountain range and finally hit Wyoming, where the landscape was changing yet again. It felt more out west than Utah did, which sounds really stupid, but I guess it's sort of like, you know, you drive through Georgia, which is the deep south, but then ending up in Florida, which is souther, but feels more northern. I don't know. What am I talking about? So I think my goal for today is Cheyenne, Wyoming. It's another 5.5 hours, and I should get there around dark. And to me, that would be perfect. That puts me in a pretty good spot for tomorrow. The next few hours were spent coming to terms with the fact that the best part of this drive was over. The mountains were behind me, and what lied ahead were the Great Plains, which meant I had nothing to look forward to, or at least to look at. The last couple hours have been nothing. Like, this is the first town that I've seen so far, honest to God. There was like a little tourist spot a couple miles back the way I came. But this is like the first real town like with a Walmart, you know? The ambient temperature was also coming up, and this revealed another sort of oddball issue with the car. I'm guessing vapor lock. Yeah. At this point, I had driven over 1,000 miles, which felt like a huge accomplishment. And although things had gone quite well, I was still super anxious at the endless possibility of things that could go wrong with the car and leave me stranded in the middle of absolute nowhere. So this anxiety had kept me from eating the day and a half prior. And at this point, I was ravenous, like 36 hours with no food. It was time to find something. Yes! Somehow it is the morning of day 5 already. I can't believe it. The car's doing quite well, and hopefully I won't have to walk to the parts store this morning, because I have a feeling it's going to be further than 2 miles. Well, one way. It's averaging 14 miles to the gallon, which is absolutely heinous. I haven't checked it since Utah, but I frankly don't want to. Otherwise, it's doing quite well. And yeah, let's do our leak check before I go. Yep, looks good. So the goal for this evening is Des Moines, Iowa, which really isn't that far from here. It's like 8 hours. So I should be able to hammer that out pretty quick. And then, well, I guess as quick as 8 hours is. That was a dumb thing to say. Yes. All right, we'll start with the oil. The stick says we're perfect. Coolant is still full. Wow. Wow, that is awesome. So I had some big fun last night. I pulled off to get a Papa John's pizza, and when I did, the belts around the water pump and the alternator and the AC compressor were just screaming like a stuck pig. And I was like, oh God, what is going on? I knew they were kind of loose from when I put them on in Washington, but I didn't think that they were that loose. Well, as it turns out, the pivot bolt on the alternator had fallen out, and the alternator was just barely dangling there. I don't know how it didn't chuck the belts, but it didn't, thank God. So, almost lost the alternator, but I got her all zipped back together, and I think we're good. Don't smell any gas this time. Yeah, I don't know, looks all right. Hey, we're back in the land of blown out rocker panels and missing cap corners. Getting close to home. That's nice. It wasn't long until I hit Nebraska. And Nebraska would be the majority of my day on the road. And if you've never been through the state, let me tell you a couple of things about Nebraska. First of all, painfully boring. There's nothing to look at. The roads are as straight and flat as you can imagine. Secondly, the only two cities that you might care about in Nebraska are on the eastern 16th of the state. And by the way, they're 20 minutes apart. So by the time you're through Omaha, you're basically in Iowa. Now, the other thing about Nebraska is I hit a wicked headwind, which brought my already terrible 14 mpgs down another half a point to 13 and a half. I don't know if you can hear me over the wind, but I'm somewhere on the eastern side of Nebraska, finally back in Central Time, and it is so windy out here. It's making my already bad gas mileage just that much worse. I was getting 14 and a half, Now I'm getting 13 and a half. I don't know how it could really get any worse than that. This drive has been incredibly boring. I haven't seen anything. Yeah, still in Nebraska. I'm into Iowa now, and I'm freaking out because this thing is out of gas. And I haven't seen one station 20 miles. I have a 5-gallon can in the back that I might actually have to use, but that's why I bought it. So I took the next exit advertising at Casey's gas station, mistakenly turned the wrong way, went about 2 miles, and the car just fell on its face. It was completely out of gas. So it's a good thing I brought that can. Well, we made it to Des Moines, my goal for the evening. And unlike last night and the night before, it's not 11:30 at night, so I'm actually gonna get some real sleep tonight. Very excited about tomorrow. I'm meeting with somebody who I've never met before and I'm pretty excited about. So we'll save that for the morning. In the meantime, I'm going in. See you. Good morning from Des Moines. I am headed up to Ames, I hope I said that right, Ames, Iowa, to meet up with Junkyard Digs. Pretty cool. So, let's get the old girl going. It's really nice out here this morning, I gotta say. It's very, very, very pretty. There she is. All right, let's do our morning fluid check. We'll just make sure that we're not hemorrhaging any fluids like coolant, oil, gas. Looks okay so far. There's oil all over the place and the car is finally starting to mark its territory. I knew that would happen eventually, but wasn't sure when. But it is now, so. Oh, look at that. Lovely. In a lot of ways, even though I'm still 10 hours from home, it kind of feels like we've made it so far, which I should not say. I'm just cursing this trip as I'm saying that, but yeah. I haven't seen too much sun so far, so it's nice to actually be here where the weather seems halfway decent, so. I had made some jokes about the 200 Thrift 6 being about as thrifty as a big block, you know, but just making 100 horsepower. And these jokes eventually got back to Kevin from Junkyard Digs because he has had and currently has a couple 206 powered cars. And he said, dude, that is so bad. He's like, there's clearly something wrong with your car. So bring it up to the shop and we'll check it out.
Well, not yet, actually, just marks. Let's put the numbers behind the belt.
Perfect. Brilliant. Yeah.
What the hell? You're better than this, Ford.
Well, they weren't in 1981. It's been a hell of a road trip car, though. It's so cush. Man.
They are good down the road. They're soft, but they're not as bad as old cars. They're like, this being a Fox platform,
right? They
are actually a step up.
Yeah.
They kind of respond when you move the wheel.
Right.
A little. Okay, there's the number 2, and then number 2 again.
Now, because Derek and I never checked the ignition timing in Washington, we were pretty sure that that was going to be a contributing factor to the car's no power and huge consumption.
Total time is coming into a whopping 18 degrees.
Damn!
So we could put that probably there and make a difference. Let's try it.
Okay. That wasn't the only problem that we found, and the second of which really surprised both of us.
That should jump.
Yeah.
And it's not
doing a damn thing.
So it's not advancing your timing down the road. So you were driving down the road at like 13 degrees of total timing. So if we fix that, you should have a lot better efficiency.
So now that I'm home, it's gonna run great.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Now I probably shouldn't have done this because now you get home with great mileage and be like, maybe I won't put a 302 in.
Yeah, right.
Nothing. Wow, that's a new failure.
Huh?
There it is.
Wow.
Huh. That right there is why you've been getting such bad mileage. There's a little
That's insane.
piece of something in there. Well, I can't guarantee it's gonna get great mileage now. But
Well, I'll take anything.
that's been an absolute definite problem. Like,
Wow.
no.
So we took the car around the block to make sure it wasn't going to detonate for the rest of my drive home, and it did great. It hadn't been this good on any part prior to this. Wow. I mean, I feel like a moron, but I'm also super grateful for Kevin's help. So dude, thank you. So this is the first fill up since our little timing adjustment. I cannot believe the advance wasn't working on this car. That actually makes a lot of sense. So I was just astounded that with the 273 rear gears, it was only getting 13 and 14 mpg. Well, I guess now we know why. So fill it up, and then I will report back with the mileage. Never ever once been over 200 miles in a tank, let alone 220, so this is a big deal. It was just under a quarter tank when I decided to stop because the curiosity is really getting to me. So it's just now 10.2 gallons. Oh, 12.2. All right, here we go. 220. It's actually 220.6 divided by 12.2. 18 flat. Dude. Look at that. 1808. So 18.1 if you want to round up. That is a big deal. And it's running so much better too. So it's just better all the way around. If only I'd caught that earlier. Indianapolis, and I'm dying for a sandwich. So McDonald's is closed, Walmart's closed, like nothing is open except for Myers. So I'm gonna see what their deli has to offer. I'm 3.5 hours from home, and it's almost midnight like it says. So I'll be there at like 2:30 in the morning, or I can just nap somewhere and then go home in the daylight. The headlights in this thing are terrible. So it's kind of funny to me that the last 3 hours of this trip might be the hardest, but you know, I don't know. I don't really want to go to a hotel that's 3 hours from home, but this thing's all bread. So after I ate the sub like a taco, I decided that it was in my best interest to just keep going. So I did. Well, good morning from Ohio, somewhere on the Ohio line. I'm just into Ohio. I was driving from Indianapolis, so I thought maybe I'll just go ahead and go home. And it got to the point where my driving was like pretty inconsistent. Speed was all over the place, and I was just so done driving. So I decided to stop, and I passed out at this rest stop right off I-70, but I slept for like 5 hours in the back seat of that wagon, and honest to God, it's pretty comfy. I can't complain. So I have like an hour and 45 minutes left. So let's get this thing home. Crazy son of a bitch, you made it. Wow. Wow. I've been gone for 6 days. Oh, hey, if you're still watching, I want to say thank you times a million. This video was one of the biggest projects I've ever done here on the channel. And, you know, not just the getting the car and driving it home, the editing process of this video was painstaking. It took me almost as long to edit this video as it did to drive home. So you can do that math. It was a lot. So thank you so much for watching, and Derek and Kevin and everybody who made this trip possible, thank you so much for your help and consideration. This project was so much fun. All right, guys, next week we'll be back to regularly scheduled like Cub Van content, hopefully. Until then, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.